Hello, this is Riding with Ree, and in today's video we're giving Ted an MOT of sorts. I'm going to take you with me as we get the dentist out to Ted, the saddler out to Ted, we give him a full clip, and maybe we even get a new saddle. When I took Ted on full loan, there were a few things that I had on my list to get done and make sure that he had, and I really like to know the dates of when these things happen so that I know when they need doing again. So I thought we'd just get them done, and of course with my fall in the field and Ted bucking, which is unlike him, it could have been caused by anything. He could have just been really excited, but I wanted to get his back and teeth done after that, just to double check that he wasn't in any pain. So I'm going to take you with me of those visits. There was a few of them, and I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you there. So the first thing that we did was got Ted a visit from the dentist. We did this in the stable, as you can see, so that Ted could move around a little bit, but that he had enough control that he could, do the things he needed to do. I'll admit I've never actually watched a horse get their teeth done before, and I was a bit like, oh no, is he okay? But the dentist was really nice and really kind and quiet as well, which was really lovely. He did say his teeth needed doing, they were a little bit long and he had to take a little bit off, but he also said that there was nothing wrong with them, and that actually if I wanted to ride, I didn't because obviously I was waiting for the saddler, but if I wanted to ride I could have done so the same day. He also recommended that because of what we're doing, the competing and going out and doing lots of different things, he recommended we get Ted's teeth done every 6 months rather than once a year. And at the end, he let me have a little feel of his teeth. Next up was giving Ted his first clip of the year. If you're not aware of what clipping is for or anything like that, essentially a lot of owners choose to clip their horses between October and about January, at least here in the UK. And what that means is taking some of their hair off, their winter coat. And the reason that people choose to clip is usually because when they get sweaty when they work, if they're not clipped, then they get sweatier because they have their winter coats, and then they take longer to dry when you sponge them off, and they can get a little bit cold. So it's just easier if you keep them clipped because they don't get as sweaty and as hot when you work them. So today we've decided to give Ted a hunter clip, which basically means we're taking everything off except for a little saddle patch, half of his face. We're keeping his legs on, but we're blending up the back of his heels. Ted has pink skin, which means he's prone to mud fever, and there's sort of two schools of thought with mud fever as to what you want to do when you clip them. So some people leave their legs on and some people take their legs off. Mud fever is caused by bacteria in the mud, which if there's open sores or the skin gets wet from being out in the cold, it can be easier for this bacteria to get into their skin and it can cause mud fever. So some people choose to leave the leg hair on because it's a bigger defense against mud fever, but some people choose to take their leg hair off because it's easier to spot the mud fever and it's easier to keep their legs clean. So on this occasion, we went with the recommendation of Ted's owners, who've obviously had him for many seasons beyond me, and what we did was took off the leg hair behind his heels, but then just blended it all together so that we could keep the tops of his legs on. So as I said, Ted was getting a hunter clip. Now I've never had to clip a horse before. I've always been really lucky that I've had amazing head lads working above me that have done the clipping instead of me. So for this video, I thought I would do is to get my instructor to give me a clipping lesson. So she would do the clipping this time around, and then I would know for future how to clip so I could do it myself, because of course if you're paying someone to clip, then you're basically having an expense every 4 to 6 weeks between October and January every single year. So I wanted to instead learn how to do it the first time and then do it myself completely after that. Now you can also see that I'm wearing a slightly ridiculous outfit, but if you've ever clipped a horse or even been near someone who's clipped a horse, you know just how disgusting and covered in stuff you get. So try and avoid any fleecy fabrics and everything like this. So Sarah's essentially showing me the right direction to go in with the hair. She's showing me how to get the clipper blades ready, how to introduce the horse to the clippers. Now Ted is not scared of being clipped, but a lot of horses don't like it. So it was all these little techniques, how to get the right lines around his saddle patch area and his legs, all of these little tricky areas, and of course I had a little go myself. So, now that Ted was freshly clipped and our dentist was in the bag, the only person we needed to wait for was the saddler. We had a couple of weeks until she could come back out to visit us and set us up with a new saddle. So I spent that week doing a little bit of lunging, not as often as I would normally ride because I don't love the idea of Ted just running around in circles, and I wanted to give him a little bit of a chance to unwind. So I gave Ted more days off than usual. I didn't lunge him every single day, and when I did lunge him, I saw a real improvement in his way of going. It was obvious he was feeling really comfortable, and I just couldn't wait to fit him with a new saddle. Just cooling down, going around the edge of the school after a little lunging session. Good boy, Teddy. I also tried long reining Ted for the first time, so I spent a little bit of time initially just getting him used to the feeling of the ropes around his sides and his bum and all of that. And we got going and he started out okay, but in hindsight, I said this on my Instagram, I should have got someone to help me from the very beginning. I thought Ted had long reined before, he hadn't, he had a little panic, and in that moment the only thing that I could do was just to relax my hands to go with him and try and give him a release of pressure so that he knew that everything was okay. Once I'd got back to him, I kept my ropes out of the way so he wouldn't trip up, and then I enlisted the help of my friend Alex. She walked with Ted at his head and gave him the confidence to keep moving forward, even when I was behind him and he wasn't quite sure what was going on. And he did great, and by the end we were walking around like we've been doing it for years. So it was a nice little bit of variation from our usual lunging routine. And before I knew it, it was Monday and it was time for the saddler's visit. So here is Ted just waiting for the saddler. I've given him a groom and a hainer and also brought in a friend so that he would be happy and comfortable standing still on the yard whilst the saddler did her checks. So once the saddler arrived, she brought quite a few saddles with her and just tried them on one after the other. As you can see, it took a while to find the perfect fit. Once she thought she found one that fit, we talked about the length. She showed me what it should feel like when it's under his shoulder and round the back. Once we were certain we'd found the right one, it was time to tack Ted up, take him down to the school and let the saddler see him move in walk and trot just to see that it was about the right fit. Unfortunately, I didn't get this on camera because I was concentrating, but I will show you more footage next week of the first time that I ride him in the new saddle alone. It was really great having someone there the first time I got back on Ted. I actually haven't ridden him since my injury, so it was nice to have someone there. She also recommended that she come back out in January and just check that everything fits as it should. This was an adjustable saddle, so hopefully next time no big purchases. Okay, Margaret has just left. We have just been in the school and had a ride round. Sounds stupid, but I was like a bit nervous about getting back on just because it's been so long, and obviously the last time I was on Ted we had a horrible experience, but we rode in the new saddle and we've got it. So Ted is out there, Margaret's gone. She's going to come back in a few months and check that everything is how it should be, and we're just going to take really short sessions to get him used to it and also to give my leg time to recover. I can't do very much in the saddle at the moment, so we're just taking it step by step, but I am so excited to have been back on board and with our new saddle, so stay tuned for the updates. Thank you so much for watching and we'll see you next time.